Starting with football, are the FA taking care of England's young footballers? Alex Ferguson reports.
It's no secret that tempers flare in the game of football.
You let yourself down, you let the team down, you let me down. This is the last time! The last time!
It's no secret that tempers flare in the game of football. But is it right to expose youth to this harsh reality early on in their careers? Gareth Southgate has headed up the We Only Do Positive campaign, who released a short video this week featuring Southgate talking about the relaxed unicorn riding atmosphere created in the England camp.
Our environment is quite relaxed and they can enjoy themselves with a group of friends, and they can be themselves and they can have fun as well as play football. We talk to the players a lot about just being brave enough to try things. Don't worry if you make mistakes.
Research has shown that 9 in 10 children play better with positive encouragement, and the programme aims to promote fun, safe and inclusive environments for football. Former Saints player Matt Le Tissier believes it is important to protect young players' mental health and well-being.
In a world where we talk a lot recently about your mental health, I think to be messing with those young kids' heads at that age, I think it's a big risk. I really do, and I really feel like the clubs shouldn't be able to sign these players until they're much older than they are at the moment.
The FA's Respect programme was first launched in the 2008-9 season, following a build-up of behavioural problems within the sport. BBC Sport's chief football writer Phil McNulty believes there have been improvements in youth coaching since the programme was introduced.
It depends on the individual and the sport, I think. But certainly there would be an element of fragility because you're dealing with such very young people, and it has to be handled very, very carefully. I think Premier League and the Football League always defend their youth processes and the facilities. And I do think the structure around the young players is much better now, and the clubs are aware of the safeguarding situation, if you like.
Statistics show that only 0.5% of under-9s at top clubs in England are likely to make it into the first team. Academy Director at Fulham, Hugh Jennings, believes that players should be able to deal with the reality of the elite level if they want to succeed.
The thing that sets young players apart is their ability to deal with disappointment, with bumps in the road. Now, if you assume that everybody who comes into an academy environment has got a baseline of talent and potential, then it's how they deal with that is critical.
However, former Celtic legend John Collins believed that youth coaches should be focusing on developing talent rather than the results.
We get the mindset of working with youth players. It's nothing to do with the result. From 10 years of age to 18, it's not about winning games. That's for the coach's ego. It's about developing technically gifted players. It's about players playing under pressure.
The FA's initiative is clear and well supported by most people within the game. Youth footballers want to be left with a positive experience from their coaches and be left thinking, there goes my football coach. I must remember to thank him.
The Copa Libertadores final is being moved to the Bernabeu following crowd violence. But is this good for the competition? Henry Flynn has this one.
Boca Juniors. River Plate. South America's fiercest rivals going head-to-head in the game of a lifetime could only mean one outcome in the football-divided city of Buenos Aires. Those sounds you've just heard were River fans ambushing the Boca Juniors bus en route to El Monumental. Mark Deutsch, a sociologist and football fan culture expert, can lift the lid on why this game matters so much.
It is definitely a playing out of something more than the individuals. It symbolically represents their community, their nation, their locality, their sense of self. There's been an excitement about it. It's like, ooh, look at this. The pyrotechnics, and look at the passion, look at the fact that 60,000 soccer fans are watching them warm up, train. You don't get this in Britain.
So what do amateur footballers in Southampton think of events across the Atlantic?
One rivalry between River Plate and Boca Juniors is massive because they're the most important clubs in Argentina. I'm from Chile, so right next to Argentina. Football creates big passion in especially in South America.
I don't know why the violence down there. I know they're big teams, big rivalries. You don't see English teams doing like Manchester Derby, the Merseyside Derby. It just ruins the whole game.
No, definitely friendly. No, not aggressive like other countries in Europe, like exactly Eastern Europe.
Here's Marcela Morey Araujo, who has been an Argentinian football journalist for over 30 years. She's currently in Buenos Aires for the G20 summit.
Argentina is hosting the G20. The city is under siege. The narrative from River fans that Boca picked up the incident, but there's a lot of discussion and debate, and since yesterday afternoon, playing in Madrid was stated as fact. I think CONMEBOL, a huge dose of responsibility. They've handled this abysmally. Nobody, I don't think, feels relieved that this is going to Madrid. It's an absolute shambles. This is the Copa Libertadores of America.
So the Santiago Bernabeu will play host to the game of the century, but it remains to be seen whether more tear gas will be used and who will be crying rivers by the final whistle.
Following James Maddison's dive in the Premier League last weekend, Matt Walker investigates the hot topic.
We're not in Stoke, but it's a wet and windy day in Southampton as players from both teams fall over in the poor conditions. But are they diving? On the weekend, James Maddison certainly was. The Leicester City player went for an early shower after receiving 2 yellow cards in minutes of each other, the second given for a blatant dive. Maddison later apologised on Twitter, saying, "Apologies to everyone for what happened today. Nobody wants to see diving in our beautiful game." So, did Maddison make the right decision to publicly apologise?
Ed, or Edward Draper, presenter for Sky Sports News, it's fantastic as exemplar of just someone who's done something wrong to admit it, and I think you can't, there's a lot of judgment in the system, particularly on social media actually.
It's not the first time that the England international has been criticised for diving. In February this year, Gary Rowett attacked Maddison for falling over theatrically, without contact, but won a penalty in a 1-1 draw against Derby. And Draper believes the worst dives need to stop happening as it can be humiliating for an icon with many football fans watching.
I think the flagrant ones, which are the ones that kind of look most embarrassing for football's perspective and in terms of role models for kids, I think they'll be able to kind of eradicate those for sure, because I don't think players will risk being exposed publicly like that.
In the last few weeks, Premier League clubs have voted in favour of VAR being installed next season. With every decision being checked, this would end up eliminating dives in the penalty area. In the World Cup this year, Neymar was awarded a penalty, which was overturned within minutes on VAR. But Sky Sports football commentator Gary Taphouse believes refereeing decisions outside the area are subjective.
Yeah, there's still going to be errors because, again, it will still come down to individual judgments. And one referee will look at a video and say, yes, that's a dive, and another referee will look at it and say, well, maybe there was contact. So you're not going to completely eliminate it, but I think it will make a big difference next season if it comes in, as we all expect it to.
You should have gone to Specsavers, Charlie, because I tell you what, he's not offside. Well, he's absolutely bang in line, not offside.
Well, maybe you should go also then, Jeff, because you couldn't see driving home the other night because you don't even wear your glasses in TV in case you get slagged off.
In the Premier League, players look to gain an advantage wherever possible, including an attempt to try and con the referee. So, have non-league footballers started to copy the elite players in diving? Andy Waterhouse, a senior Hampshire referee who has been officiating for 18 years, thinks players in grassroots football play the right way.
In the local game, it doesn't seem to be a major problem. Most of the players are looking to play the game as it should be played, and they're not looking to be cynical and looking to dive and deceive a referee.
Currently, the punishment for diving in football is a yellow card. Many people believe the outcome needs to be tougher, which could potentially see diving being eradicated from the game. Waterhouse thinks football should follow rugby's yellow card rule, which would see teams lose a player for a period of time.
Now, if they introduce something like a sin bin situation in future years, that might be a good possibility. A yellow card at the moment is probably not a good enough deterrent, but a red card's probably too much of a deterrent and too much of a punishment for the player.
Financially for Premier League clubs, staying in the division is absolutely vital. This means there is added pressure on players to win at all costs. And Draper believes that this is why players can end up diving.
A lot of blurred lines in the Premier League, and a lot of people get mixed up with principles and think that principles and rules and ethics and stuff should be sort of bent by money, and effectively because a game's more important to win because there's money riding on it in the context of where you finish in the Premier League.
This week we haven't seen any Paul Pogba handshakes or Patrice Evra raw chicken licking. Instead, we've seen a heartfelt apology from a young English talent, a footballer who has promised to keep himself out of negative headlines.
Sorry, all that you can say.
Stonewall's Rainbow Laces campaign has been going since 2015 and aims to rid football of homophobic abuse. However, has it done enough, or is there still more to do? Alex Dyer reports.
This weekend, the FA will team up with LGBT group Stonewall to honour their Rainbow Laces campaign. Premier League and EFL clubs will take part by using multicoloured corner flags, captain's armbands and laces. This is in an attempt to assure those involved with football that they would be well received by the game should they choose to come out as homosexual. The UK's only openly gay referee, Ryan Atkin, says the initiative encouraged him to disclose his sexuality.
With all the work that's been happening and had happened with Rainbow Laces, it gave me the confidence to know that I would be treated the same and fairly.
However, author of Football's Coming Out, Neil Beasley, feels that this particular movement is getting stale.
I think Rainbow Laces has had its day now. I'm glad that the initiative's being pushed, but I think it needs a whole new rethink.
Beasley doesn't see an openly gay player fitting into the Premier League anytime soon.
I think it'd be really difficult in the Premier League. I also don't know why you would even want to come out. Football's a very short career, isn't it? 12, 15 years max, I guess? Why wouldn't you just keep yourself to yourself? You get enough abuse and hate as a professional sports person anyway.
It's been argued that covering up emotions can be negative to a sports person's mental health. Atkin was eager to come out, and he got to a point where he felt hiding was affecting his performance as a referee.
I wanted to tell colleagues within my workplace within football about my sexuality that was affecting me outside of football and within football.
As part of the Rainbow Laces celebration weekend, Stonewall FC are playing at Wembley tonight. They face Wilberforce Wanderers for a regular season game in the Middlesex County Football League. This will be the first competitive non-league game to be played at the National Stadium. Playing at Wembley brings Stonewall FC and their interesting story to the forefront. The club was formed in 1991 by amateur footballer Asley Pitter, who put an advert in a gay publication asking if like-minded people fancied a kickabout. Stonewall FC manager Eric Najib felt that coverage for their story was all in aid of the bigger picture.
But it's more about just, getting people to be aware of the battle to rid football of homophobia.
Ahead of an action-packed weekend of football, including Sunday's trio of derbies, the LGBT community takes centre stage as a number of players will lace up with them in mind.
The FA Cup returns for the second round proper this weekend. Portsmouth are the only South Coast team left in the hat. They're away at Rochdale. At stake is a place in the third round, where the big boys join in. But with Premier League teams increasingly fielding weakened teams, is the competition losing its magic? Lewis Blaine has the story.
The stage is set for a club, a team, a potential hero to step forward and create memories of a lifetime, all courtesy of the FA Cup.
Rendell! Unbelievable! Conference side Luton lead at Premier League Norwich.
Mark Yates for Bradford caps off one of the FA Cup stories. The team sixth in League One have knocked out the Premier League leaders.
The FA Cup, a competition synonymous with English football. A competition that offers non-league clubs a shot at the big time. A competition that was once the country's biggest prize. 11 non-league teams are just one game away from the chance to face one of the Premier League's elite. Woking are one of those clubs. They sit top of the National League South. Their opponents on Sunday are League 2 Swindon Town. Manager Alan Dowson emphasises the importance of the cup to his team.
Massive. I think it's massive not just for Woking, but it's massive for any non-league side, because the money they get, the dream is to win, obviously, if we could, and play against Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United.
So, Alan, Any personal memories?
I've got no memories of the FA Cup because I've been the worst manager in non-league football in the FA Cup you want to think of. Absolutely hopeless.
At the top of the pyramid, it's arguably losing its value. The lure of European football and safety in the Premier League is much more vital in football's current financial climate. Several managers have played down the importance of the Cup, including Spurs boss Mauricio Pochettino.
I think fantastic if Southampton, Chelsea, Manchester United, Tottenham will win the FA Cup. But this is going to change our life, I don't believe.
His side faced Inter Milan in the Champions League on Wednesday. John Cross was on the line as he walked down Wembley Way. He believes that the tournament still has some shine to it.
John Cross, chief footballer at Daily Mirror. I think it's viewed by the clubs as they go through the rounds, perhaps resting players, not being as important as it was. So I think it's lost a bit of magic, but I don't think it's lost its magic full stop, no.
The next station is Basingstoke.
I'm here at a gloomy and wet Camrose Stadium where Basingstoke Town host Torquay United. To my left are the visiting Torquay supporters, grouped under some shelter, and to my right is the main stand where the home fans are sat. But what do they really think of the FA Cup?
Yeah, I think a lot of Premier League clubs are sort of playing their second team almost, with the prize money as it is, particularly for clubs like Torquay having gone through a few rounds. They've actually sort of made quite a bit of money.
But yeah, it was total disrespect, I think, from the more senior clubs.
All 40 clubs that play this weekend are not only competing for the chance to draw the likes of United and City. The winners of each tie will receive £54,000 in prize money. So will we get the chance to hear more moments like this?
Back in, and Radic's on the end of it, and they're claiming it's gone over the line, and the referee's given the goal. Unbelievable! This is why we love the FA Cup. It delivers yet again.
Only the best make it to Olympic level, but with disability sport on the rise, it's spirit in motion for the Paralympic movement, as Jamie Spore reports.
It's going to be Peacock. Peacock takes the goal for Great Britain.
And this final is over already. More glory for Sarah Story in Rio, a piece of British sporting history.
The London 2012 Paralympics were widely regarded as the greatest ever, with record ticket sales and significant media coverage. It was Team GB's most successful games to that point. That was until the GB squad went one better in Rio 4 years later. The Olympics and Paralympics epitomise sporting excellence as the pinnacle of every athlete's career. Through thousands of contenders, each participant is painstakingly chosen, and 4 years of hard graft ultimately determined by a matter of seconds. But just how much work goes into achieving your dreams? Aaron Phipps competed for Team GB during the 2012 Paralympic Games as a member of the British wheelchair rugby team. The 35-year-old believes that the path to the top is clearer in disability sports, in contrast to able-bodied competition.
It's a bit of an unusual one in disability sport because you haven't got as many people competing for spots, so I guess it's easier to stand out than perhaps it is in able-bodied sport. But then, once you get up to that next level, then you train as hard as any other athlete, whether they're disabled or able-bodied. So there's that jump from amateur to elite. It might be easier to get noticed in the first instance, but then when you're there, you have to work as hard as anybody else does.
Wheel Power support disabled sports people, whether that be first-timers or Paralympic medalists. The organisation accommodate all. They have been providing opportunities in sport for people with disabilities for 70 years and show no sign of letting up. Oliver Buncombe, a sports development officer for Wheel Power, believes that broadcasters such as the BBC do not offer enough coverage for disability sport compared to able-bodied events.
Absolutely, I think you just need to look at the BBC Sport app to see that. If you look at the largest media organisation in the UK and you look at the BBC, one of the world's largest media organisations, go onto the BBC Sport app and you will see that some of the articles around disability sport on the disability sport page are either very old or very short or incomplete, and there's definitely not enough reporting definitely done around it as compared to able-bodied sport.
With each event close to being sold out, the London 2012 Paralympics proved a turning point for disability sport. Great Britain relished the additional home support, securing 120 medals and finishing third on the medal table. Due to increased media presence, the Paralympics proved a resounding success for the duration of the Games. Dan James, a 5-time Paralympic disabled tennis coach, says that the atmosphere produced by a Paralympic opening ceremony will be felt by every competitor. 15 years of hard work all comes down to that one single moment, something that James believes truly is special.
First or your fourth, just being able to wear USA on your back is all you need to be inspired. The team that we have this year is a unique blend of rookies and veterans, and I couldn't be more proud of our veterans who have really adopted the rookies' first experience and made sure that they know that they are part of the team.
Disability sport is undoubtedly on the rise. More opportunities are constantly being created through organisations such as Wheel Power. However, aside from the 4 yearly games, disability sport lacks coverage from broadcasters. Are the media doing enough to promote the inspirational men and women of the Paralympic movement?
It's been a spectacular autumn for the Welsh rugby side as they won all their internationals. But what is the key to their success? Harrison Reid visited a small town in Wales to find out.
Known for its rich history, male voice choirs, Tom Jones, farm animals, and this.
Not coming in and not still going. Oh, and George Knott!
Shane Williams, always a buzz of excitement. Williams has scored.
Have done it. They have beaten England at Twickenham.
For the first time in history, Wales have won all 4 of their autumn internationals. Spirits are high with some memorable wins. Victory against Scotland, beating Australia for the first time in 10 years, an incredible attacking performance against Tonga, and most recently a professional win over South Africa. A World Cup win doesn't seem too far away for the Welsh, who've now won 9 on the bounce. 22-year-old centre Owen Watkin is one of the many young players breaking into the national side. He knows there is huge competition for a place in the World Cup squad, but he has a plan for a spot on the plane to Tokyo 2019.
For me, really, I got to be performing regular for the Ospreys, and I think what I'm doing now is just keep chasing for that starting centre spot. Me and Parks are competing all the time, and we're both pushing each other, even though he's starting in the minute and he is playing right. So just really performance every week for the Ospreys, and just hopefully stay fit and not get injured before the World Cup, and I think I'll be in with a fighting chance then, really.
18 miles from the capital, Cardiff, is Bridgend, a town with a circumference of just 6.5 kilometres. This is where Watkin played during his road to recovery from injury.
It's a great club, and it's just really grateful they gave me a chance to play there until I got back to my full form and play for a team my father played for and loads of people from this area played for, really.
Type it in onto Google and you'll be recommended with a visit to Jump Jam Trampoline Club. But it also produces some of the finest rugby talent in the country.
Matt Silver, head coach, Bridgend Ravens.
Bridgend Ravens have seen a number of Welsh rugby internationals come through the ranks over the years, including the likes of Rhys Webb, Gareth Thomas and JPR Williams. Silver says these players are a massive inspiration for his current squad, who are dreaming big.
There's a lot of talent in the area, from Bridgendas to Pencoed, to Maesteg. These clubs produce a phenomenal amount of talent, so more recently as Rhys Webb and Owen Watkin, played for us last year. In the system at the moment, we got Dowie Cross, Harry Morgan and Kai Evans, they've got all potential full Welsh internationals.
Fans around Wales are more than confident ahead of next year's World Cup in Tokyo. Youth prospects breaking into the side and succeeding at top-level rugby is fantastic for the country. The supporters all seem to have a smile on their face.
We're blooding all new players, and Warren Gatlin is no fool. They wouldn't be there if they didn't have the potential to do well.
We've got a real strong team, in depth, and the youngsters are coming through, and it's brilliant to see.
I think they do exceptionally well and just keep on going and build for the World Cup.
Number 3rd in the world now, and I think as the years go on, we're just going to get better, and rugby's going to get a bigger part of the country, and even better with us.
A country with a lot of pride and a lot of talent, the future of Welsh rugby seems bright. Thank you for listening to our final news day for audio of the year. We've been your favourite audio team, HDRC, and we look forward to toppling the table.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh my god.